It's ironic, isn't it? That the thing that you have to do is actually burn the flag, don't stand up, don't put your hand. Those are the things that make it more American.
I don't think you should say that people who do it hate the country, because that's not correct.
That's not true.
They don't hate the country. Stop saying that.
All the racists voted for Trump.
Do we start profiling all the white people?
The thing about Trump, though, is that he's the recruiter in chief. He is
for ISIS.
He is basically working with ISIS to kill us. They are working together.
Watch your uterus. That's all I'm saying.
He is going to dismantle everything.
It's a big show. I mean, look at this.
And I, for one, hope it is true. Hillary staying with Bill is a major selling point for me, for Hillary, because it shows me that she can commit. She is a woman. She will commit to her man, and she will commit to her country. Commit.
I know she knew what she was doing.
Yeah?
No.
Well, then you haven't done your homework.
I've done my homework.
No, you haven't done your homework.
Hi, what's up, man?
Okay, Norm, you're Canadian.
Yes, I am.
So what do you think of this whole presidential mess?
Well, I hope that the Democrats don't steal the election from the winner, you know, but who knows? I love George Bush, man. He's a good man, decent, you know, none of this. Yeah, he's, you know, he's not a liar, a crook, murderer, or anything like that. So it'd be good to get the. See, I think we should get the homicide out of the White House and get like a fresh start, because we don't want any more murderers. Oh, Clinton, he murdered a guy.
Yeah, you know, we're not allowed to, you're not allowed to put out no accusations without.
That's a little too far.
That's the way it does.
Oh, the great Bill Cosby.
Yeah, what'd you do?
Oh my God, I love that guy. He's my hero, you know, just like you, maybe George or Bill Clinton would be your hero. Now, Bill Cosby is a great man, first of all. There has never been any accusations toward Bill Cosby about any.
Will you just tell us what you did, Bill?
That probably
I
offended
realized at that moment that I'd done something unforgivable.
Yeah, right. I mean, you know, it's like
things spill out sometimes, and it's just difficult.
March of the Penguins on Nintendo DS is what happens when hell freezes over. No one wanted this game to exist, and yet it does. Morgan Freeman has betrayed us all. Why does he do this? Anyways, there's no point in explaining the story of the war documentary titled March of the Penguinos, which was at one point exclusive for Laserdisc players at the time. But nowadays, you can find a copy of March of the Penguinos that would even play on the PS Vita. So you too can be that weirdo on the subway who seems to watch only March of the Penguins on every station wide with his PS Vita at hand.
I'm freezing my nuts off!
Damn, the cold is making everybody crankier.
You have no idea what I'm going through. You're in a warm recording studio in LA getting paid tons of money.
Not enough.
By the way, there is March of the Penguins fanfiction out and about on the internet. Just don't look it up, it will only give you nightmares in return.
What? It's just an ordinary... Oh my goodness! Squidward! Oh, what now?
A customer ordered a medium soda and I gave
Squid porn.
I gave him a large!
Coming to bed, honey?
Yes, dear.
As expected, this game follows the migration and mating habits of a group of penguins. Fantastic!
You know what your problem is? You're not proud to be a penguin.
Proud to be a penguin. Why are we even called penguins? What does it even mean?
It's a great name for us. It's not so on the nose. What would you rather be, a ram? You know why they're called rams?
The gameplay consists mostly of building paths to allow a flock of penguins to reach the other side on a 2D plane, while also collecting a predetermined amount of snowflakes along the way. If you don't collect enough snowflakes, you will have to restart the whole entire stage all over again. Every last penguin must make it to the end of the stage in order to complete these levels as well. When a penguin falls off the course, that penguin will respawn back at the start of the course. Of course, when add a bit of challenge, each course has a designated time limit to boost up the difficulty. You, as Morgan Freeman in a first-person binocular perspective, spy on penguins having sex from behind a glacier, all equipped with various supplies to help lay out a path for the penguins to follow. There is the tent tool that acts like trampolines for the penguins to be able to jump to higher ledges, collect out of reach snowflakes, and fall from greater heights. You can build slides to allow penguins to travel downward off a ledge and onto the flat, icy plain below. Ramps that allow sliding penguins to speed over gaps in the path, snowballs that help penguins turn back from heading in the wrong direction, a fish that helps convince penguins to turn around quicker than the snowballs could, and also persuade them to fall from higher ledges. I bet old Walt Disney used that technique back there on the Lemmings. Where was I? Oh yeah, there are also icicles blocking the penguin's path that you must manually melt using a heated briquette. Ice bridges that can be built to allow penguins to travel over large gaps, and finally stairs made of ice that can be used instead of trampolines to allow penguins to reach a not so high ledge above. With every one of these tools there is a catch. You can only place a certain amount of each on the course at one time, so eventually when all the penguins are caught up and the landscape previously traveled has now become barren, you must drag each of the individually placed equipment back into your tool sack. Of course, you won't need to do this with the fish and the heated briquette, since both can be placed on the map. They are just tools you can manually use with your stylus. Now, let's move away from the main puzzles and focus on the other few mini-games. So there are two maze-type mini-games where you move along a predetermined path as a penguin, played by Morgan Freeman. You travel via the directional pad from ice crater to ice while avoiding paths that send you into pools of water and or dead ends. The ultimate goal in the first version is to find a female penguin to do some hanky-panky with. In the second version of the minigame, you play as a female penguin returning to her one-night stand husband and to gaze upon the face of her demon spawn. These levels are rather easy and tries to boost their difficulty by adding a time limit. Next, there's the diving minigame. That is the only game in this collection to become a shooting star and break the mold, so to speak. But all that glitters is not pure gold, my friends. As I said, this is the only non-puzzle based game, and your goal is to consume enough fish without running out of breath. There are two of these levels, one where you play as a male penguin, and the other is a female penguin, where you are required to use the directional pad once again to perform the task at hand. An air pocket can be found at the start of these stages where you must return to in order to regain your breath. In the water below, there are a handful of enemies to avoid while collecting the fish. If you bump into an enemy, you will immediately lose a chunk of your air supply. This was by far my favorite game in the whole collection, but I can easily beat these two levels in less than 3 minutes each, and there is no incentive to return to this particular game. The last minigame is a one-of-a-kind level in which you must control a male emperor penguin and move him through a maze made up of hundreds of other emperor penguins as you find the way to the center of the pack. By doing so, he will keep the egg from freezing out in the cold Arctic air. The only time limit is the heat meter depicting the egg's temperature dropping. Avoid bumping into fellow penguins or else the egg will roll from between your legs and quickly freeze in the cold. Your method of moving said penguin in this minigame is by using the directional pad once again. In the end, there are only 12 levels in the game. 5 are breaking from the traditional gameplay while the rest of the 7 levels are simply Lemmings clones, as discussed before. Graphics wise, this game shares similar visuals to a Super Nintendo pre-rendered 3D game such as Donkey Kong Country or Toy Story. They look fine but nothing impressive, and sometimes makes the penguins look uncanny moving around like some cheap Photoshop realistic Flash cartoon. You won't be seeing that kind of animation in Project Moonstrip, I can assure you. Music-wise, the music sounds like it belongs in a rated C children's educational game. Remember when they used to make those for home consoles? Well, nowadays they created their own separate handhelds and consoles for the teaching agenda to be forced on the children playing these games. But yeah, the music in this game will put the player to sleep, though it is completely serviceable for this licensed property. No one had any expectations with this game, and thus it had a very low bar to climb over. Overall, let's just say this game surprised me, but not by very much. March of the Penguins included a pretty decent Lemmings clone as its most developed levels, though I would have liked to see more tube mechanics added to these particular stages to add more depth to the gameplay. The minigames that are not as developed as the main stages are definitely pretty fun for the most part. However, I can't imagine coming back to this game just to play those particular levels.
Hey, I just created a Wix website for my business. Let me show you how I did it. Let's go to Wix.com. I can add anything I want.
Since there's no replay factor whatsoever here, with the main stages at least, there is some sort of incentive to collect more than the required amount of snowflakes to unlock absolutely nothing. It's just something to do when you're bored and have nothing else to do. Other than that, my other complaint deals with how short this game really plays out. You can beat this game in far less than 2 hours if you don't screw up as many times as I did during my Let's Play series. Go check that out if you didn't already. So for the final verdict, I'll give this game a well-deserved 6.5 out of 10 for the puzzle genre of video games. This was the first time I had to place my final score in the decimals. The game deserves a 7 out of 10, but since March of the Penguins has no incentive to replay the game, can be completed in less than 2 hours, and the levels are a little underdeveloped, I had to slightly lower the score in the long run. Once again, I'm sorry not comparing this game to Crash to Sandy, of which I gave a 7 out of 10 for the 3D platforming genre of games, and or Nicktoons Attack of the Toybots, 2 of which I gave a 6 out of 10 for the rage genre of video games. Unlike most critics, I rate my games in separate genres, since people who like 3D platformers only want the best 3D platformers.
Today I'm creating a professional Wix website for my good friend and personal trainer.
And people who like puzzle games only want the best puzzle games. It does not make sense to me to rate these games on the same scaling system, considering one can add bias preferring one game style over another and never giving the other game they themselves aren't interested in the light of day. With that said, I enjoyed playing March of the Penguins on Nintendo DS to a degree and gave it a rating of 6.5 out of 10 for the puzzle genre of video games. If you enjoyed the review, please consider watching my other 2 reviews on Attack of the Toybots and Crash to Sandy, even though I kinda spoiled their ratings in this video. Every other review of mine that does not have my now iconic thumbnail of quality are complete and utter garbage. Don't waste your time watching those, and I will be deleting and replacing those reviews eventually. I just need more time. Anyway, this has been Ram for RamsTheNameCom signing out. Peace, and I hope you enjoyed the review. See you later. And now, if you will excuse me, I gotta go see March of the Penguins 2 on Hulu.
To find his wife with another penguin. He flips out. His strategy is simple. Batter the homewrecker until he flees. Most birds have hollow bones in their wings to make them lighter for flight. But penguins don't fly. Their flippers contain solid bone. Now, they are gouging out eyes. He makes one last plea to the female. But she's got no time for losers.
You, Hubie, you got a pebble for your girl? Well, you know, it's, not really. Now and forever. Just so exciting!
It's so romantic!
Knock it off! Romance has nothing to do with it. Listen.
Just I don't think of.
Oh, look at her.
I am.
Huh?
You have to read us a bedtime story.
What do you got here, anyways? Rainbow alligator saves the wetlands? No. The organic squirrel gets a bike helmet? I'm not reading these communist books to you guys.
Let's be louder. This time, stand up and really shout it. All right, stand up.
I drink Dr. Pepper, don't you see? 'Cause it's the perfect taste for me.